What's up, guys? I just wanted to react to the press conference that Arthur Blank and Rich McKay had um, the other day, and I'm incredibly troubled as a Falcons fan. Now, just a little background of who I am. I have never uploaded a video before. I am not anybody prominent. I have no subscribers. I've been a Falcons fan since 1998. I'm 34 years old, been born and raised in Atlanta, grew up in Southwest DeKalb area. Currently live in Swanee, Georgia. Been rooting for the Falcons for most of my life. Obviously, this season was to say it was a disappointment, I think is an understatement. So I am glad Arthur Smith is gone. Obviously, it's not a, it's a, I don't want to take pleasure in the idea of somebody losing their job, but when in this business about winning and results, Arthur Smith was not getting it done. So the change needed to happen. So I'm glad that happened. But listening to that press conference from Arthur Blank and Rich McKay was extremely troubling. The first thing I noticed, and first thing everyone noticed, was the fact that Terry Fontenot was not there. And I applaud the press for grilling them on why he wasn't there. And we heard their answers as to why. And I think I speak for most of us, if not all of us, that we weren't satisfied with the answer. And what we got was that Arthur Blank and Rich McKay are going to be leading the search for the new head coach. And they will have input, they will get input from Terry as well as other executives in the organization. This is troubling. This is extremely troubling. Because for whatever reason, there is this unequivocal trust that Rich McKay is the best voice to make the final decisions on, the best head coach for the team. And you hired Terry Fontenot as the general manager, and the general manager is supposed to accumulate the talent relative to what the team needs based on the offensive and defensive philosophies we're running, as y'all know, and work with the head coach, obviously, to make that happen. And then first and foremost, select the head coach. Terry has done a very admirable job in building this roster. And he's even capitulated and worked with Arthur Smith to give him what he wants in accumulating talent. The defense was better than it has been in a long time. And we have tremendous offensive weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, the glaring issue is quarterback. I think most of us agree Desmond Ridder was not it, for obvious reasons. If you watch the games, we know why. We don't have our franchise quarterback on the roster right now. That's obvious. But the first thing we need to do is hire a coach. Terry should be the one leading that charge and should be making that decision. And of course, obviously, as the owner, Arthur Blank would sign off on it, but Terry should be leading that charge. That's why he's the general manager. The general manager typically picks their coach, and then they work with that coach to accumulate the talent based on the offensive and defensive philosophy they want to run, based with the coach, the coordinators, all that stuff. And the reasoning that Arthur Blank gave was this, because he wanted to have a relationship that was collaborative and not, antagonistic, so to speak. That was the reason they gave, that Terry is responsible for player personnel and that they're sharing the 50-50 split with the coach, and that they both report to Rich McKay. Rich McKay was brought on in, I believe it was December of 2003, as the general manager. Under his watch, the Falcons went 30-34 with the record, if I'm not mistaken, between 2004 and 2007. They hired Thomas Dimitroff in 2008 for a reason. And that was because Rich McKay wasn't getting it done. Drafting, accumulating talent to support at that point was, Michael Vick, and that offense, that version of the Falcons. That version of the Falcons underachieved. There was a lot there. They could have went further than they did, but they didn't. We all know what happened to Michael Vick. We all know what derailed. Oh, also, Rich McKay gave us Bobby Petrino. So we all know what happened there. So Rich McKay needed to be removed from that role for a reason. That was apparent, and that's why Thomas Dimitroff was brought in. Now, fast forward to the Thomas Dimitroff era, he's now gone, and Terry Fontenot was brought in, and has done in my opinion, a very admirable job, and I think a lot of people would agree, has done a very admirable job of accumulating talent. So the idea that they are not allowing him to lead the charge of the head coach just reeks of dysfunctionality within the front office of this Falcons organization. And that hurts to say, because the Falcons are my team. They've been my team since I was young. Even though I was born in 1989, I kind of started paying attention to football in 1998 when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, and I've been a fan of the Falcons ever since, through the good and the bad. And it hurts me to see that I see competent championship winning or playoff contending teams that are consistent, like the Baltimore Ravens, with Ollie Newsome for all those years, and then their new GM, with the Rams with Les Snead, the Chiefs, all these teams that are have found the right coach, found the right system, and have a good working relationship with their coach and GM, and they are able to work in harmony to establish a good culture, a winning culture, and get the right personnel on a consistent basis through drafting and free agency. And that's what should be the case here, as far as allowing Terry to get his footing as a GM, selecting his head coach, because he did not get to do that before. And this should have been his shot to do that. But they're taking it from him. They're not letting him do that. And that's a problem. Rich McKay is a problem. I think he's great with business operations. That's, to me, is his forte. That's where he should be. He helped build the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, different things like that. He's good with that. Football operations should be led by Terry Fontenot. Give the power to Terry, but that's not happening. Arthur Blank feels that Rich McKay is like his general right-hand man, like his guy that should be making all the decisions. And they're leading the charge. And now I'm hearing all these reports and rumors that Bill Belichick is their number one prospect. And I'm just shaking my head. Now, why, you ask? Bill Belichick, obviously, one of the greatest, if not the greatest head coach of all time. I would say he's the greatest head coach of all time as far as his record and his Super Bowl success. But he's 71 years old. He's a defensive-minded coach, and his record without Tom Brady is pretty poor. Before that, he washed out with the Browns. And since Tom Brady, before his time with the Patriots, he washed out with the Browns. And since Tom Brady has left, the Patriots have not been a winning team. So I don't have confidence that Bill Belichick is the right coach for this team, because while I do think he's still a defensive guru, hence because that defense in New England is very good, he is not, I don't think, the fit for us here, especially because we don't have that quarterback. I think the right team for Bill Belichick is a team that has a good quarterback already there. He gets himself a good offensive coordinator to work with that quarterback, and then he can make overall team decisions and run the defense. Our defense is already very good, so it doesn't need. And I would be very sorry to see Ryan Nielsen go. I really hope there's some way we can keep him, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. He's going to probably be a hot coaching candidate, or he may move, or he may, get hired elsewhere because I think he's done a phenomenal job with our defense. Yes, our defense wasn't all that great the last couple of games, but our defense is vastly improved from what it used to be. When Matt Ryan was our quarterback, I don't think he had a top 10 defense, or he had a top 10 defense once in his whole career with the Falcons. And to see our defense play the way it did for the majority of this year was beautiful to watch. Jesse Bates was probably one of the best, if not the best, signings of the season. We had a defense that really could have complemented a solid offense, and we didn't, and that wasn't there. And that's why we had to get rid of Arthur Smith, because the underutilization of our offense was just criminal. What's being done to Kyle Pitts is absolutely criminal. The fact that Bijan Robinson only got 47% of the carries and wasn't getting at least 20 touches a game was absolutely criminal, in my opinion. Drake London should be getting at least 10 targets a game, and if he's not, that's just ineptitude as far as play calling and scheming for your best players. Arthur Smith wasn't doing that. The whole league saw it pretty much, that paid attention, so he needed to go. But I'm not sure if we're now even... I was optimistic when I heard Arthur Smith let go because it needed to happen. I thought that was the first step to maybe acquiring the right head coach and then either drafting the right quarterback prospect or trading for Justin Fields or getting another veteran quarterback. Ideally, I would either want a young prospect, either through the draft or Justin Fields. One of those two options would be my preference. But I do not feel good about this current arrangement in the front office with Rich McKay being the end-all be-all, apparently, and leading the charge with Arthur Blank. The fact that Terry was not at the press conference was very telling. Thomas Dimitroff was at the press conference after Mike Smith's firing, but the fact that Terry is not at this one is troubling. I know they're trying to say that they have the utmost respect for him, that he has, that he is very important within the organization. They try to spin it to where, like, it's not supposed to mean anything, but it does. It means something. It means that there is the way the power structure is Rich McKay has the power. And the decisions are going to stop with him, and Arthur Blank, of course. But Terry, while he's going to have input, is not going to be able to call the shots with the head coach. And he's got to share power and report to Rich McKay with everything and with the coach. And that's just not how championship teams are built. They're not. You hire Terry to be the general manager. Let him be the general manager. Now, I'm hoping that my concerns will be eased as this offseason starts and progresses. Maybe I'm wrong about Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick can still be a good coach, a great coach even, but with a different team. I don't think this team is set up to maximize Bill Belichick, and that's why I do not want us to hire him as our coach. I would like Ben Johnson, or Jim Harbaugh, or there were a couple other names that I definitely had a lot more interest in, and Bill Belichick was not on that list. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Again, I am a very average Falcons fan. Regular day job. 34 years old, live in Swanee. Just giving my take here. I'll be uploading more videos probably. I want to talk more about this season. I want to talk about, what's going to happen next season. I also want to talk about conversations surrounding the Falcons historically, Matt Ryan's legacy, Michael Vick's impact, and some of the conversations and somewhat discourse that's happened between those two quarterbacks, and, what's kind of gone down. But thank y'all for watching. If you all watching, night.